coach and author, and today I'm going to be talking about eating eggs and should we eat them. Now it might be a bit longer today, but I really want to get to the the yolk of the issue. Now eggs are touted as being one of the most nutritious complete meals that you can have. I have to admit that eggs was the hardest food for me to leave behind when I went vegan, but I did so for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the egg industry. Now, I think we all know just how cruel life is for chickens, especially those who have to live in the cages. So let's look at a few facts on caged chickens. Now, it can take around 34 hours for a chicken to produce an egg, which means that farmers have to make sure they have enough chickens producing enough eggs in order to make a living. Now, as demand for eggs increased, the space allocated to each chicken decreased. Battery cages allow a space no bigger than an A4 size of paper, and that's kind of like this size here. And they can have anywhere between 5 and 11 hens to one cage. Now, because these hens are packed into these cages so tightly, at the start of their life, quite often, not all the time, but quite often their beaks are cut off with hot blades. So, in other words, no anesthetic given. Cages are usually stacked one on top of another, which allows urine and feces to fall through to the birds in the cages below. And hens often die in the cages, and on some farms they are left to rot. Now, this does make you wonder just how much disease is coming through into the eggs. The battery cages, these small cages, are slowly being phased out of the Western world. They're already banned in many European countries and in parts of the United States. New Zealand has put a ban on battery cages, however, currently is allowing colony cages, which is really just a bigger version. It's still wire and steel, and hens are put in there, packed in there. Okay, so you're a good person and you always choose free-range eggs. Let's look at that. Well, we'll start at the beginning, because this is the start of all chickens' lives, regardless of whether they are for caged or for the free-range farms. Because the demand is so great for layer hens, chicks are born in large incubators, obviously never seeing their mother. And shortly after birth, the chicks are sorted into male and female. Now the males, they have no value whatsoever to the industry, so they're tossed into trash bags to suffocate, or they're gassed, or they're ground up alive in machines. And the females go on to be these layer hens in cages, barns, or the free range. Now, hens can live, in normal situations, hens can live up to 10 years of age. But in this industry, they're lucky if they reach 2 years. So at the end of their life, again, same for all types of egg farms. They're packed into crates and they're trucked off to slaughter around about 18 months of age. And this is because their egg laying begins to tail off and they're no longer a viable proposition to the farmer. For those hens who live in cages and barns, the journey in the truck to the slaughterhouse is the one and only time a hen will see the light of day, the only time she will actually breathe the air and see the sky. In most countries, chickens have no status. They're not like other animals that come under animal welfare law or whatever. It's a really, really sad plight for these sweet birds. So that's the animal side. Now look at the health side of having eggs. Where do I start? Even the US Department of Agriculture warned the egg industry that if they said eggs are nutritious or safe, they just might be violating the rules against false and misleading advertising. Now that in itself speaks volumes. Egg yolks alone can cause artery clogging plaque build-up nearly 2/3 as bad as smoking. And eggs are the #1 source of cholesterol. So a fascinating study was done over a period of a year where they put the subject on eggs, then took them off eggs, then put them back on eggs, took them off eggs, etc. Throughout the year, and the rise and fall of cholesterol was massive. It turned his blood cholesterol on and off like an eggy-like switch. So, do eggs increase our risk of cardiovascular disease? Well, when you put all the studies going right back to the 1930s all together, you find that those who ate the most eggs had 19% increase in cardiovascular disease, a 68% increase risk of diabetes, and those with the diabetes who continue to eat eggs, an 85% increased risk in heart disease. And don't think that, you had to be eating a ton of eggs. It was on an average one single egg a day. Now you must remember that you need to be sure that the research you read is not funded by the egg industry. And what I find amusing is that their studies will compare one single egg to something like a McDonald's sausage McMuffin, which of course is laden with saturated fats and will bump the cholesterol up. If you're already eating a high cholesterol diet, then adding an egg, it's not going to make any difference at all, really. But if you're trying to eat healthy and bring your cholesterol down, then an egg is going to shoot it right back up again, just like it did for that study. Okay, so getting away from the cholesterol and looking at the other phytonutrients that eggs have. Lutein, for example, which has been shown to be beneficial to one's eyesight against conditions such as cataracts and molecular degeneration. Oh, but wait, hang on a minute, lutein. You can actually get that in spinach. In fact, you have to eat 9 eggs to get the same amount of that in a single spoon of spinach. I'd go for the spinach. Eggs are not as rich in protein, iron or folate as the industry might want you to believe. The only thing that they're rich in is choline, that's besides the cholesterol. And even though the industry would love you to think that eggs are the only source of choline you really need, in reality we probably all get too much choline as it's found in lots of food. If you tend to have a bit of like a fishy breath or sweat or urine and other secretions, then chances are you've had too much choline. By the way, dietary choline is found mainly in eggs, milk, liver, red meat, poultry, shellfish and fish. And it's also been discovered that once it's been through the gut and oxidized in our liver, the result may contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries. So we really don't want to have a lot of choline at all. So don't let the egg industry tell you otherwise. The conclusion is that eggs are a double whammy when it comes to heart health, having both cholesterol and choline. There's just no way around it. Go whole food, vegan, and help not only the chickies, but your own health as well. That's it for today. Remember, have great food, make it plant-based, and be compassionate to all animals, including humans. Subscribe if you want, or like if you want. Bye for now.